Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sharp Talk podcast. I'm Tom, aka Tom Hosting Outdoors on YouTube and Instagram. Today I'm joined by my co-host Alex, or you can find him on YouTube at Alex's Knife Box and on Instagram at Alex_knifebox. Also have Gerald with me, Outpost 76 on YouTube and Instagram. And we're joined today by our special guest Dirk. You can find him on YouTube under Dirk Werning. That's WERNING. And you can find him on Instagram at Dirk Werning _YouTube. So thank you for joining us today, Dirk.
No, thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
So what we always start.
Wait. So did we pronounce your last name correctly? I just want to make sure.
You did. Yep. Werning.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Continue, Tom.
So as we always start out the podcast, what is in your guys' pockets today? We'll let Dirk go first.
Well, today I actually have a Strider S&G that a viewer sent in for review to let me check out. It's the first Strider I've ever handled. I always thought they were a little kind of goofy looking, but dang, once I put it in my hand, it just fits really well. So that's what I've got today.
Very cool.
That's a knife I've never checked out, and I want to handle one eventually.
I would recommend it. I mean, I just got in the mail yesterday, and I've been playing with it a little bit, and yeah, the ergos are really good. I'll do a video here in a couple of days, but yeah, it's kind of a fun knife. So I'm really glad that he was able to send that in and let me check it out, because it's something I just have never had the opportunity, to check one out.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's what I love about this.
Yeah, I had the same thoughts on when I first got. I have only one Strider. I've only ever bought one. It's an SNG as well, but I was super surprised at how ergonomic it is, especially with that 4-finger choil and like the flare to the back of the handle. It locks in really nice.
It really does. It kind of looks a little bit goofy just out of the box, or you see them on Instagram and whatnot. The handle looks way bigger than the blade, but when you hold it, it just kind of marries to your hand. I was very surprised at how comfortable it really is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a pretty cool knife.
Yeah.
Might have trouble sending that one back to him, but we'll see how that goes in a couple of days.
Right on.
Who wants to go next?
Gerald.
Dude, come on, I'm boring. I've had the same thing, like, I don't know how many podcasts.
I don't care, Gerald. What do you got in your pocket?
The Demco 8015.
All right. So
that's all I've been carrying outside of work for like 4 months now.
Really been digging that one?
Yeah.
That's some advertisement for Demco right there. Gerald's a picky son of a bitch.
I don't know. I think in 4 months I've sharpened it once. It drops, but it's like CRKS 35.
It
drops back amazing. You can just keep on using it.
Very nice.
Nice.
Alex,
Tom?
You want me to go first? All right.
Let's see what your little tiny hands are holding today.
So I got the Reground Super Freak. I've been carrying this one quite a bit since Gerald released his video on his, just to see how mine's ground by Transparent Knives.
Transparent Knives.
Yep. So I've kind of been carrying that one a bunch just to kind of see how it performs. After Gerald did his video, and it took, 14 sharpenings, Gerald?
Yeah, 14.
So this, I'm on number 4, and it's doing a lot better on this edge than what it did on the last one. So we'll see how it continues to go.
How's the edge stability?
Okay. It's
okay.
It's not,
that's what I expected you to say.
Not quite where I want it to be yet, but it's getting better. And I don't know if I ever told you guys. I know I sent pictures to Gerald, but I actually chamfered the corners of the scales. I didn't like how sharp the corners were, so I took the whole thing apart, rounded everything over. Even did the same thing on the top and on the inside of the scales. I know a lot of people don't think about that, but it just feels a lot better.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Very nice.
What you
Little
got,
hands.
Yeah, listen, my hands aren't that small. Although the picture I posted the other day with what knife? I think it was this knife. Where I choked my hand up as far as I could on it, and I was like, well, maybe I do have tiny hands.
Just so you guys know, he's holding up a mini Enkose.
Yeah, that's it.
I got the the A2 A6 today.
Okay.
South African knife maker.
Mm-hmm.
And they make these in some really fancy materials that go for like 2-3 grand. But I went a little bit more plain on mine. It's just lightning strike carbon fiber. And then you can see the thing that I thought was pretty cool was the zirconium pivot.
Mm.
And then zirconium clip. And then it's got some blue anodized liners. So it's a nice, clean looking knife. Probably some of the highest quality stuff I've seen in quite a while, actually. This knife I've known about for a long time, but I never really thought that it was exactly worth the money until I actually saw this one was like $700.
Okay, it's not bad.
And yeah, it's like worth every penny. It's really comfortable, and you can see the blade finish is just really, really nicely done. So that's some of the best hand rub satin I've seen. And then the flats are almost mirrored, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty good looking knife.
Yeah, it's a collaboration of 3 knife makers.
Oh, wow.
Andrew Van Heerden, Andrew Thornburn, and Tashi, which you could tell by the blade.
Yep.
So, action's freaking nuts. So, yeah, that's what I'm carrying today.
Nice.
Not bad.
Does anybody have any new acquisitions?
Oh, shit. Let's go.
Do you have a bunch, Alex?
Nah, I don't have a bunch. I have a few. Who's
All right, well,
first?
take it away, Alex. I don't have any new knife stuff. I've gotten a couple of watches in lately, but no new knives lately.
All right. Gerald?
No, nothing, buddy.
Tom?
I don't have anything new on me, but I have a knife that I ordered that's in transit.
What's coming?
Rex 45 Mannix.
Okay. I thought you hated Rex 45.
I didn't.
Or
hate
you
it.
criticized it.
I thought it was very overhyped. So, especially at secondary market prices, is kind of what I was getting at.
So you bought one.
So I bought one for market price for $126 instead of paying $300, $400 for a military.
Okay.
So
I paid $200 for my military secondary.
That's a screaming deal.
No, it's not.
Yes,
it's what they're worth, man.
That's what they're worth, but that's not what people are paying. People will pay $300 or $400 for that thing right now. It's crazy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So then mine's worth probably like 5 or 6 with those scales and everything.
To the right person, for sure.
Oh. Time to go. Time to sell some stuff.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just so happened to find it
stupid.
in stock the other day, and I wasn't planning on buying it, and I had spare cash, like almost that exact amount of spare cash laying around, and I was like,
Well,
you know
there
what?
you go.
Fuck it.
Had to.
Was meant to be.
Yep. So
All right.
It should be here tomorrow, I think.
You got anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
See, I don't spend a lot of $125 knife. I'm like, yeah, that's good for right now.
So, I'm not sure who's going to like this one or who's a fan. I'm waiting because I know there's not a lot of Emerson fans out there. But this is a new acquisition. I saw it come up on the website, and I actually live half an hour from Emerson Knives, so I drove down there and picked it up.
Sweet.
This is a I'm going to send this one to Dirk, actually. He's going to enjoy reviewing this big old tank. This one is a XHD edition, which means extra heavy duty. So they're super thick. That's what XHD stands for. And you can tell it's got a chisel. So there's no grind on this side, but there is on this side. It's a little bit of the profile of the Bulldog. And S35VN versus their 154. And it's got insane action.
Are you sure that isn't a folding wood chisel?
It's more like a pry bar, to tell you the
God
truth.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah, look at that blade stock, man.
Do you know what the measurement is on that stock?
I don't. I haven't really gotten around to it yet, but I'm gonna say it's probably close to a 1/4 inch.
Hang on.
Yeah, I was gonna guess it was about a 1/4. It looks like.
And look, even has a lock bar insert, pretty unusual for an Emerson too.
Okay.
So interesting knife, kind of ugly, kind of big, but unique. So I got that.
What was the model on that one?
This is the XHD HMMV-K.
Okay.
I've been wanting one of these for years, so I ended up getting a BRS Alpha channel Alpha. Let me test this thing out. They call this the Chab Channel Alpha Beast.
That sounded really cool, actually.
What, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of the channel construction.
That's actually really sick.
So it's basically like your butterfly version of an integral.
Right.
And it flips really, really nice. It's and it does have a unique sound. It's kind of known for it. So that was kind of an impulse buy. I got the email like, oh, you know, drops come in at 6 o'clock, be prepared. And then I got the email coming in 5 minutes. Okay, done.
Yep, that's how it goes.
Yep, big mistake.
The blade thickness on the Emerson was 0.187 inches.
0.187.
Yeah, so just under a fifth of an inch.
Yeah, it looks
Okay.
bigger than that.
Here's a true 1/4 inch blade stock.
There you go.
We actually did talk about this last episode. This is Red Blade Works, the pig.
Mm.
And it's a veteran-owned company. He actually brings it down to a really like kind of narrow edge, but it's got what he calls the grease grind, which is kind of like a super thick spine of S30. But he actually puts a lot of love into this thing because even the pocket clip, he uses titanium. All the hardware is hardened steel, and then he even polishes the washers himself. So it's got this really nice smooth action. This is just a nice beater, really, is what it is. A $450 beater.
I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm going to send you that one too, Dirk.
You've seen a lot of my stuff, and I'm into the more thicker, 1/4 inch plus. I mean,
Yes.
I've got a Reese Whelan sitting here on my table. It's 3/8 of an inch thick.
Oh.
So,
Yes.
I mean, if you could see that,
Oh.
now we're talking 3/8.
Yeah.
And this is so sharp, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then a couple of my Phil Harveys, they're 3/8 also, and yeah.
So he's gonna laugh at this one when he gets it. Like, what is this, man? Is that a toothpick?
Nah, for normal carrying around, 1/4 inch is actually really good. I mean, I have some other stuff like the Strider is, I don't know. I haven't measured that one yet, but like my Dyer wear, some of my Medfords are that 1/8, 190 and stuff like that. Those are great to carry around, but you got to have some crazy funky stuff in the collection also, just to get people to go, what?
Yep, I agree.
That's why I get the big overbuilt stuff. It's for that wow factor.
And you definitely get it, that's for sure. I love watching his channel. Every time I'm like, what's he gonna post today?
I get you got a lot of hate for some of that dumb stuff.
Really?
Some people call it dumb stuff, like my Phil Harvey Peacemaker. It's a log splitter, right? It's humongous. I don't have it here on my table. It's on the other table, but it's a bit ridiculous. It barely fits in your pocket. You're not going to carry it around.
Right.
The pocket clip alone is 5 inches long. The pocket clip is 5 inches. Let me just say that again. So you don't carry that really around in your pocket, but it's pretty cool for pictures and videos and stuff like that. And I have a friend who does carry his around in his bag. He has it in his backpack all the time.
Valentino?
Yep, Valentino.
I knew it.
he carries it around. He actually just sold it to buy something else, but he is working with Phil to have a new one made in a bit different design. Phil just came up with a new design. So Phil cool. Valentino's going to get, I think, #1 of that.
Wow. Very cool. He's the other guy that I know around that has the monsters.
Oh, God. Yeah, he makes all my stuff look small. Yeah.
The sauce man.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah.
But cool dude. I've talked to him on the phone a number of times and stuff. We've been good friends for about a year now. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah. He's always. I have never talked to him on the phone, but I've talked to him online for a couple of years, and he's cool. He's always cool.
He sounds exactly like he talks on the online.
Yeah.
All his cool sauce, all that stuff. That's just how he talks. That is legit how he talks with his New Jersey accent.
Paul said, "Tom, let's get
it.
a picture of you holding those." 2 hands.
Yeah, 2 hands.
Like a small
That's just to
sword.
grab the choil.
Yeah.
And then the last acquisition I'm going to share is a knife I got from the infamous Acuminous Edge. So I told him to buy this thing like maybe 6 months ago or something like that, because I love the Mokime.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally made him an offer, actually like $300 less than what they go for, or $360 less than they go for. He's like, okay, fine, you can have it. So I ended up picking up this beautiful SOCOM. I was sad after I sold my last one. And yeah, some mirror polish M390, just a perfect little knife for me.
I love that the inlays, like the pattern of the Mokime, matches up from each inlay to the next inlay.
Yeah, it's
so
all like
cool.
from one piece.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All
totally
from one
awesome.
piece. So yeah, that's what we have lately. I do have. I'm trading both of my my Koenigs, the Arius and the matching Mini Goblin, for a Arius style 55.
Nice.
So yeah, that was a trade in his favor, but he had the right one that I wanted. I just wanted a solid titanium one, and he threw in a Lynch pry bar with it, just for the hell of it. So that's fine.
You know what knife I almost picked up the other day? A Medford Slim Midi.
Oh, I just sold mine, man.
The Slim Midi is a pretty cool one.
DLT had them in S90V.
Yep.
Yes, they do.
And I was like, son of a bitch, I might need to grab one of those. Because the
Yeah.
prices aren't terrible on them.
No, they're like $500.
Yeah, 500 to 600 or so.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not crazy. It's a knife I could carry. It's in a steel better than D2.
Oh, it's a great knife to carry. I mean, it's
Yeah.
very Sabenza-like,
Yeah.
if you will. It's kind of similar shape and size, and really just disappears in your pocket. They're great to carry.
Yeah.
I think their MIDI line is a great line. The Slim MIDI and the regular MIDI are awesome knives.
If I ever get a Medford, it's going to be that Slim Midi.
Yep.
And it's got to be the right one. Because they had a lot of cool anno patterns. DLT did.
Yeah.
I was really, really thinking about grabbing one. I haven't yet. I might, but we'll see.
Yeah, you might always anything, Tom. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Stop being a pussy and just pull the trigger already.
Just do it.
I know.
So I just did a review on that knife. I've carried it around and stuff like that, and I sold it to the Knife Junkie, and I sold it to him cheap too, like $300.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, but he bought 2 knives, so I kind of, and me and Bob are friends, so I'm like, you know what, here. The only major issue I have with that knife is putting my thumb between the lock bar to disengage the lock. That is like, I gotta press like the flesh of my thumb just to get in there and unlock the lock bar. That makes the opening or closing experience less than stellar for me. So I think next one I'm gonna do the regular MIDI.
And that's the issue is it's so slim.
Yep.
The gap between the scales is just so slim because of the blade.
Yep.
And so it is kind of tough if you have normal to bigger hands to get in there to open it,
I should be just fine. Then.
unlock it. So you should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom will be fine. But you know
the
what
MIDI
I found?
should be fine for you then. The MIDI Marauder, and I can send you one when I send some stuff down too, because I've got a couple of those. That should be much better for you.
Yeah,
because it's
I
much
think that's
easier to unlock just because the blade thickness is a little bigger, and so the gap between the two scales is big enough to get your thumb in there and just close it.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
And I like the MIDI, the little bit thicker better. And the slim MIDI is cool because it disappears in your pocket and it, whatnot. But the MIDI kind of feels my hand just a little bit better.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit more substantial in my hand without being 3/8 inch thick blade and crazy that you got to wrap your hand around.
Right.
So.
Yep. I think you'll be just fine, Tom, with your little pencil fingers.
Yeah, I'll get one eventually. The right variation has to come out. There's a lot of cool stuff on DLT, but nothing that really stood out to me that made me want to drop the cash for it quite yet. We'll see.
I actually liked a lot of them. I was tempted too.
They were cool, just nothing that made me want to spend the $500 or $600.
Call up the factory and order it exactly the way you want.
That is true. I could do that.
You wait a little bit longer, but they're not in the 18, 24-month waiting periods like they were a couple of years back.
Yeah.
So it's more reasonable. It's a couple of months from what I understand right now.
That's not bad.
For normal stuff, right? I mean, if you want some crazy sculpting and some crazy stuff, then it's a little more. But just picking out your colors and some stuff, yeah, they're just a couple months out.
Yeah, cool.
So that might be the way to go for you if
For
you
sure.
want some specific.
Yep.
All right. So are we ready to get into the main topic of the episode then?
The rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole. So
Let's go.
So how do we want to start this?
Well, why don't we just start where we all started from?
I feel like we talked about this before, but not quite to the point where on this side of it, the rabbit hole. We kind of discussed how our collections got started and how things have unfolded to this point, but never how it can evolve so quickly.
I think everybody can relate to it. The rabbit hole is the one that you fall into when you start from a Spyderco and then jump to a Sebenza. And then you jump from a Sebenza to something else higher. And then it can go on to like a Sharp by Design Arch Nemesis. And then it goes on to, I don't know, it can just keep going and going and going. I have a friend named Russell who goes by that's _ not _ a knife on Instagram. And he's got knives. He lives local to me, so I hang out with him sometimes. He's got knives that are $6,000-$7,000. They're nuts. And he's got a case full of them, but he's only got, I think, 20, 25 knives now. So like he started out like boarding, just like the rest of us. And then eventually he narrowed it down and just started buying like just the highest, craziest end stuff like he can.
Yeah.
And he's not even the highest end. There's, $20,000, $30,000 knives out there.
Oh, for sure. I've seen some of those. That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a hole that you can go down really quickly.
Yes.
I mean, it just depends on, a lot of it is your personality and your bank account. So, I mean, I started out with a Spyderco, like probably most everybody. Or if you go way back, the Buck 110 when you were in Boy Scouts, way back, right, as a kid. But as an adult, was a Spyderco police model. That was the first thing I had. And I carried it for 10 or 12 years, the same one. Wore it down, had it reground a couple of times, and it was crazy. And then I got into some Benchmades and a couple Cold Steels. And then my first real jump into higher end knives, if you will, was a Praetorian G that I bought used on eBay for like $300. And I'm like, I'll never spend $500 on a knife. Well, that was a lie. Then my first real big ones that I bought in, brand new was a full-size Medford Marauder from Greg at the California Custom Show 3 years ago. And I bought a Eric Kramer Reaper at the same show. And I walked away broke. I'm like, oh, what did I just do? And it went from there. And then I just started buying stuff every other freaking week, it seemed like. I'd get paid, I'd buy something. I'd get paid, I'd buy it. And now here I am. I think the most I spent on something is around $3,000. I kind of blew my $500 limit a couple of years ago. So it can quickly go downhill. And why do we do that? I don't know. A lot of it is sometimes keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Seeing your buddy, because you start looking at YouTube, right? And then you start watching Jim Skelton's videos and everything he's talked about you wanted to have. And then you watch some Nick Shabazz stuff, and then you watch this guy, you watch that guy, and you start going down this hole, and then it's all of a sudden it's 2 a.m. and you got to get to work in a few hours, and you're like, oh my God, turn the phone off. And then you start ordering stuff tomorrow that you saw last night at midnight. So it just kind of, I don't know. It's kind of a little sickness, I think, that we all have of this, knifeaholic type of thing that can't really satisfy sometimes.
Yep, I agree with that.
You're happy for a few minutes with your SOCOM, and then after, I don't know, for me anyway, I'll get something brand new that I custom ordered that's, I've waited 6 months for. I get it. I'm ecstatic that day. And then the next day I'm like, okay, what do I want next?
Yeah, conquer the new grail.
And then you're, it's the hunt that is fun too, though.
Yeah.
Right? When you know that there's 10 of these customs made and you're out hunting Facebook and eBay and all these things and all the forums to try to hunt down this knife that you saw in some video 2 years ago.
Right.
And then you find it. And then you get it. And then you're like, oh, what do I look for next?
Right.
I'm not even going to try to justify and say it's logical.
No.
It's just what we do.
Yep. Now, you guys are more like steel chasers, right? Yeah. Which is just as expensive because you guys want to buy a bunch of knives and high-end sharpening gear and freaking crazy stuff.
Like, anymore for me, is I'm not buying knives for me personally. I feel like I'm buying knives for the testing and for the YouTube.
Right.
Because I know I'm going to get content out of it. And if I like it, I'll keep it. If I don't like it, I'll sell it. That kind of thing. Like, there's only a few knives that actually stick around for me.
How well does the selling thing work for you?
Pretty well. I mean, obviously you're losing money on it.
I get that, but I have a mental block in trying to sell something in the first place because I bought it, so I want to keep it.
Right.
And then when I do post something, even at a great deal, I think it doesn't seem like a lot of interest. Granted, I buy some stuff that is not everybody's taste. As you check out my channel, you'll see. It's a very kind of different taste maybe than the normal people. But so I end up just keeping the stuff for the most part because it's not so much about the money. I mean, I'm not going to give it away, but I'll lose money, which is fine. But it's a mental thing to let stuff go also for some reason.
I'd say I've had, I don't know, a good 70 to 80 knives in my possession at one time or another, and I'm down to maybe 10 that are with me. I end up selling a lot.
I've got about 70 or 80 or 90, something in that ballpark quantity wise, and that's about where I've been. I mean, I've been at 10 and now I'm up to 70. Yeah. Does that count?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I could do it a little bit backwards.
You're in the reverse, yeah. I just try and narrow things down to what I like. Like that's what we all kind of start with, right? Is chasing like the perfect knife, which you think of as the perfect knife.
Right.
And that's kind of what I'm looking for. And there is no perfect knife for everything. I've narrowed it down to a couple models and a couple different steels that I like for what I do every day.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's the perfect knife for going out to a party or an occasion. There's a perfect knife for work. Then there's the perfect knife for going hang out with your knife buddies. You gotta have one for each occasion, guys.
Yeah, there is no one perfect knife, but I agree. I have a couple of go-to ones when I'm going out to a nice dinner with my girlfriend and another couple or something, or a wedding. You're gonna wear a suit. I've got kind of my go-to couple of knives that are good for that. They're nice and dressy and classy or whatever. And then if I'm going out camping or four-wheeling, then I've got the other kind of beefy overbuild G10 that can get in the dirt and get gunked up, and I don't mind. So I think you're perfectly right, Alex. Is there's the perfect knife for the occasion, but there's not one perfect knife that does everything.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now, I think in theory there could be, but I think we choose not to.
Oh yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think it's a mental thing with us knife collectors.
Yeah.
Like if you talk to somebody that's not a knife collector that just has a knife to cut open boxes and cut off string off of their, shirt and, that sort of stuff, they've got one knife and they're good with that. And they don't understand us. What do you mean you have 10? What do you mean you have 20? What do you mean you have 30? Like, they don't get it. So for them, there is a one perfect knife.
It's like the people I have that come into the shop. They're like, yeah, I've owned this 940 for 15 years. And I'm like, I could never. That carry one knife for 15 years. I can carry a knife for a month or two at a time. I'm like, all right, I got to try something different now.
But you see,
Right.
Tom is not like a loyalist like me and Dirk. Tom is like a knife whore or a knife slut, if you will. Like when he bought that Inkose that last year that he loved so much.
That's such a great
knife. And he fucking flipped it. Then he bought the Sharp by Design Typhoon. It was a mini Typhoon?
It was the Evo Typhoon.
Evo Typhoon. And he's like, man, guys, this is the best flipper I've ever owned. I'm never selling this thing. Then a month later, he's like, I'm not into flippers. I'm selling it.
It wasn't
like,
the flipper
there's
I've ever
no
owned.
loyalty. There's no loyalty, Tom.
Here's the thing: is when I'm purchasing a knife, I build it up in my head, right? That it's going to be such and such, and then it gets there, and in my head, it's all of that, and then you carry it for a little bit. You're like, it's not really like what I thought it would be, or you figure out what you don't like about it. In the case of my Inkose, I figured out what I didn't like about it.
What didn't you like about the Inkose?
Well, watch my video.
I watched your video.
Damn, there you go.
I watched your video.
S35VN. Wasn't a fan. For everything I do, it just doesn't do what I want it to. I don't like the grind was thicker than the Sebenza. Didn't like that. What the part that really bothered me was the jimping. The jimping was a little bit too nasty for what
your little weak hands.
Listen, I don't want real sharp jimping that like wears a callus into my finger by the end of the day. If I'm doing a lot of cutting, it's just not what I want. Yeah.
Okay.
It was still a great knife.
Dude,
I still think it's one of the best I've ever owned.
Jimping altogether should just go away.
I agree.
I'm just going to say it. It's useless.
It's garbage.
Yeah, I've had no situation ever where I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I had that jimping on that knife.
Yep.
Although, I'm going to say that jimping, I've had a few, and I reiterate, a few knives where I'm like, wow, that jimping feels nice.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if the handle is designed with a nice locking ergonomic, you don't need it. But sometimes it does feel kind of nice on certain knives that I've had.
Yeah, and sometimes on certain knives it looks nice aesthetically.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
But it also prevents me from buying a lot of knives too. I see the big, deep, like sawtooth jimping, and I'm like, yeah, no.
So you're not into the Medford Praetorians then?
Hell no.
Because I happen to have one here, and it's got.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That looks like.
I mean, jimping. If you can see that, like it's. I don't know. You could put a pencil in there.
That looks like I'm gonna lose my thumb in it.
You do. I mean, it's it's kind of hard to show.
That's my favorite. Oh my God, that's my
why
favorite
I
Medford right there.
For you.
Yes.
I mean, it's their grenade pattern with the San Mai Damascus, whatnot. So, but yeah, the Praetorian jimping is a bit extreme.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say that it's comfortable. It's not sharp. It's not going to cut you, but they're harsh edges.
Yeah, it's like that kind of stuff where you go try and cut 50 feet of cardboard with that, and then at the end you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're opening boxes and stuff, that's fine. If you have to cut cardboard,
yeah. And then like on the Strider that I just got, I mean, that's not similar style jimping, but it's actually kind of all of it is chamfered, so it's grippy, but it's comfortable.
Yep.
So
That's what I experienced with it.
You can have some grip and it still be comfortable. So
I think the only company that does it consistently well, Spyderco does. It's fine enough that it doesn't tear up your finger.
Mm-hmm.
Gerald's shaking his head. I like their jimping. But do you like the jimping on the Mannix, Gerald?
No.
No? Yeah, me neither. That doesn't need to be
No,
there
I
at
like
all.
knife.
Yeah, Gerald's not a
mean-
jimping fan. He thinks that it should all go away.
No.
So he doesn't like anybody's jimping on any size, any shape, anything. I've met him for 10 minutes now.
No,
I know.
some
He's not a jimping
some
guy.
I don't mind. Like on the Demco, I mean, it looks like it's deep, but it like Dirk was saying, it's so chamfered, it's not uncomfortable.
Right.
Right.
There's never a point where you're thinking, "Oh man, I can't press down on that; it's gonna hurt." It's huge, but it's comfortable.
Right.
I don't mind it. Like you take the PM2, the Mannix stuff like, dude, that's just overkill. Nobody needs needle sharp jimping on a knife to hold your hand in place.
Right.
That Mannix I got from BJ to test, where he sanded all the jimping off, is like a world of difference between that one and
It's funny
any
that
of the other ones
it's funny
I
that
have.
you bring that up because BJ literally just typed in the chat, asked G about the jimping on the S90V Mannix. I traded him.
That's funny you guys bring up jimping because that's one thing about this knife that's a little bit different. So, typical jimping kind of ribs up, like you got these little ridges.
Yep.
This
Yeah.
one actually just has cuts that are inset. So it's actually a straight kind of line.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting the way you could still feel the grip,
Yeah.
but that was very different from what I'm usually used to as far as jimping.
I
And
like
how
it.
does it feel? Is it comfortable then? Because it's kind of smooth?
It's very comfortable. If you put light pressure, you don't feel anything. And then if
Got
you
it.
put a little more pressure on it, then your fingers kind of sink down and you feel the grip.
Okay. That's
So-
cool.
Yeah, interesting. So, what about the rabbit hole, G? What's your
Well,
take or experience?
I had a different experience than most people. My buddy Josh lives like 20 miles away, and he ran the full gamut of the rabbit hole. I mean, he started out from $15, $20 knives all the way up to, you name it under about $1,500, he's pretty much had it.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing was I got to check them all out. Van de Venters, Direware, Shiros, Medfords, Hinders, you name it. I got to check all that stuff out. Some of them I got to use, some of them I got on loan, some of them I just checked out because he just got them in to check them out and sell them.
Mm-hmm.
So it got to a point where he would get stuff in, and and he started to feel the same way, and I'll get to that in a minute. But he ended up, now he's down to a Native Chief and a ZDP 189 Endure. He's like, these are fine. I don't know what I was thinking buying all that stuff, because he got to the point I was at, just checking his stuff out. I was like, oh, cool, it's another knife. It didn't matter what it was. And it wasn't that they weren't cool knives. It just got to the point where there were so many.
Mm.
And yeah, some of them stuck out and were really cool. The Jaros was cool. The JD Van de Venter was cool. I liked those. I probably wouldn't own one. But, so that kind of saved me from doing all that. I'm happy with the Demco, the Shiro, and the ADV. Those are ones that I wanted out of all the stuff I ever checked out that he had. So
Very cool.
So you just got to live.
I kinda
the
got to
rabbit
check it
hole
all
through
out.
him.
yes, I got to check it out without spending any money.
Dude, that's like everybody's dream.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
You need to find me a Josh.
Right?
God damn.
Well, and that's kind of how my channel's turning out a little bit, is I've got a couple of friends that are sending some stuff in. so that I can check it out to have content. I mean, I have a lot of Medfords and I got a lot of bags, and I can't just be the Medford big commercial channel, right? And with a Direware thrown in and I mean, I've got some other stuff, but that's the bulk of my collection. So if I just did that every day, everybody'd be like, yeah, you're done, right? So I've got some good friends that are, Benchmade dealer. He's going to be sending me a care package. Another buddy who just has probably 300 knives. He's going to send 4 or 5 in at a time so they can check out some stuff and then send them back to him. It gets content and hopefully shows what's out there to the viewers much better than just a picture on Instagram and stuff, so they can see how it really feels in the hand and looks in the hand and sizes and stuff, and help somebody make a decision on what they might want to buy. So hopefully that kind of continues with stuff kind of coming and going throughout the YouTube channel.
Well, and that was the whole reason why I started a YouTube channel in the first place, is because that's how I was shopping for knives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would read the specs and look at the different versions at the different stores. And then I would go to YouTube and I want to see like what it looks like in someone's hand.
Right.
Like get a little bit better than a still photo, get a video of it, see what how it looks, behaves, see what a couple different people's perspective on the knife were, whether they were a known channel or not.
Right.
If it was that knife, I would kind of like peek in and listen, and that's helped me in time to make some pretty rational decisions. So that was the whole thing that started me. And then I'm like, this was maybe like 2.5, 3 years ago. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And I started hoarding knives. And I'm like, next year I'll start a YouTube channel. I was still hoarding knives. And then, then when I started the podcast with these guys, they're like, okay, dude, you need to start your channel already. So how long has it been, guys?
Almost a year.
Almost a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I finally did it. And then now what I'm doing with my collection is, because like we were talking about the rabbit hole. So my experience with my first high-end knife was, or so I thought, like in 2013, I'm like, okay, I was into fixed blades when I first started collecting knives.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, but I can't carry a fixed blade around at work, and I want a nice, good knife that has good steel, good handle material, good this, good that. So I started doing a bunch of research. And most people would think that, someone who does a lot of research probably back then would lead you to where a lot of times it leads you today, which is a Chris Reeves Benza 21.
Mm-hmm.
So I got something similar, but I didn't quite do all my research. I ended up getting a Benchmade Monolock 761, and it came with the M390 steel. It had those same kind of flat slab titanium handles, and it had these massive bearings in there that the action was nuts. No detent, but crazy action.
Mm.
So when I got that knife, this was my first experience of getting, and then back then I'm like, oh my God, I just spent $300 on a knife. What have I done?
Yep.
And then, so after that, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be the one knife I carry. $300 for a knife that I carry every day and beat it up. Who cares?
Right.
And then I started noticing other stuff, and it kept going on. And that thing that Dirk said, well, I'm not spending any more than, whatever, or I'm not spending $500. I remember clearly like telling one of my coworkers, turning to the side, because he used to like sit right next to me at work, and he would be able to see like my computer and me staring at fucking knives all day long while I'm trying to work.
No, we never did that.
Oh my God. And it's funny because he knows all about knives now, but he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't own anything.
Right.
And then he tells me the other day, like when I ordered that Sharp by Design Nemesis, the Arch Nemesis dagger, he asked me, how much was that knife? I'm like, wow, it was $1,800. He's like, well, remember back in the day when you said you were only going to spend no more than like $300 on a knife? I'm like, shut up, dude. He's like, no. But then remember when you said you weren't going to spend more than $500 on a knife? And I'm like, okay, dude, I get it. He's like, no. But remember when you said you weren't going to spend more than $1,000 on a knife? I'm like, all right, we're done here. You know, like it's.
I think the only limit I put on myself was I'm not going to spend more than 500. And so then once I spent more than 500 and I ended up spending 2,000 in one day, I was done. Like there was no limits. Like, I mean, I didn't put a 750, 1,000. I didn't put any more limits. The 500 was the only limit. I don't know that I have a limit. I've handled some $10,000, $20,000 knives at the knife show. They're not my tail. Like, I forget about the money. I just didn't like the knife. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it, but the gold and all this stuff, like, that's just not me. So I wouldn't
knife, right?
You know, so not that I wouldn't spend 20 grand on a knife. I wouldn't buy those knives that I've seen in the 20,000 range, just because I wouldn't buy them in the $200 range because I just didn't like them that much.
Right.
So I don't know if I have an upper limit. Like I said, about $3,000 is what I've spent at the most to date. I don't know. If there was something that came around for 4 or 5, I might. I don't know. Can't say.
I'm the same way. I took my restrictions off.
Yeah.
But then I think about like all the knives I've hoarded all over the years. And my buddy Russell was telling me, he's like, dude, for all those knives that you have, you know, you can have like one or like maybe like 20 really sick knives for that. I'm like, So now I started doing this thing where and it's going to suck for the channel, but I'm going to do a video on every knife that I have before I sell them. But I'm selling tons of stuff now. And everything that I think, like this thing right here, like I think it's a permanent keeper. Mm-hmm. So this I'll put in this particular case and it stays there, right? And then everything else stays kind of in the knife box. And then as I go through, I'm going to sell pretty much everything and try to bring myself down. Because I think I have, including fixed blades, I think I'm close to 200 blades right now.
And I think what your experience is not uncommon. Like, I was more, when I first started really kind of getting into stuff maybe 2-3 years back, it was more about quantity. I hadn't really figured out quality yet. I mean, not that they were cheap knives, but I was more about the quantity of, okay, now I've got 4 of that maker. Now I got 7. Now I got 10. And they were the kind of plain Jane ones from that maker. So the quality was good, but they weren't high-end ones. And if I was smarter, and I would recommend to people maybe be a little smarter, but you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know that you're going to want the higher-end, Damascus bladed ones until you start to collect stuff. So, yeah, I think we have all hoarded a bunch of normal price range stuff that could have equaled up to 4 or 5 or 6 really nice high-quality ones.
Right.
Did the same thing with watches when I got into watches. I just was buying every shiny thing, and I was like, damn, why?
And I don't even think there's a shortcut to it. I think every knife collector that really becomes a collector really will have to take those steps. Because my thing was every kind of weird lock or opening mechanism or anything unusual, I'm like, I have to try it. I have to see what that's like. I want to know all that stuff. I've always been into design. Tom's a big steel guy, so is Gerald. My thing was always designs of knives, how the frame and the locks work, and the back of the blade tang locks to the blade, and the scorpion lock was something I would went nuts over.
Yeah, I'm the same way about that. I'm a sucker for cool mechanics.
Yep.
But
it's more of a mechanical thing for me. Steel, I'm in an office environment, I'll be honest. I open Amazon boxes. I open up knife boxes with my other knife to open up a new knife, right? I mean, that's my world. So it's more of truly collecting rather than using. Right. But I do carry, my $3,000 knives. I carry them. I just carry them when I know I'm going to go to somewhere that it's not going to become something I need to use hardcore, right?
Right.
I take the right knife for the right event.
Right. Makes sense.
Paul wants to know, do any of you guys display your knives?
I can't. I have a 3-year-old.
Yeah. I don't on purpose. I have a bunch sitting on my workbench that I pick from when I want to choose something different, but I don't display them just to display them.
I live alone, and they're scattered around the house.
They're displayed.
There's some on
naturally.
There's some kind of laid out on the dresser, so I can pick out which one I'm going to carry today. There's some on my desk here. I work from home too, so I have some here on my desk, so I can change knives throughout the day. There's some on the kitchen table. There's some on the little cabinet in the kitchen. Yeah, they're kind of all over the place. Same with the watches. There's just watches kind of all over the place too. It's a problem. I admit it. I have a problem.
Yeah, I think we all do.
My name is Dirk, and I have a knife problem.
I have been sober for 3 days now.
I haven't bought a knife in a little while, but a watch came in yesterday and the day before, and so yeah.
Do you display any, Gerald?
No, nothing.
I didn't think you would.
No, I do have a case that holds 48. That's mostly what I pick out of to carry, but in the past, I don't know, since all I've been carrying is a Demco outside of work, I think I've gone in that thing like 3 times in 4 months.
Yep.
Is that like
I have like...
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, is that like a
like
Pelican case?
Yeah, and then I have like 3 or 4 dresser drawers. One is like so full I can't put anything else in there. Other ones are just scattered around. I mean, I have way too much stuff. That's why, like last year, I think I only bought like 7 or 8 knives all year.
Wow.
Nothing was, nothing was super expensive. This year, I have spent $20 on a knife. So
$20 so far in 2020?
Yep.
Wow. All right, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Well, and you talk about space, right? You've got dresser drawers full and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
The other problem is, okay, so you've got your knives all laid around, but what about the packagings? Because I keep all the packaging, right?
Yep.
So I've got the boxes or the hard cases that they come in, like Medford's, it comes with the hard plastic case, then it comes in the white box and all that. I've got a stack of those over here in the office. I've got more out in the garage in like plastic tubs. It's almost a collection of packages or packaging in and of itself.
Yes, I do have a dresser drawer that's mostly boxes. I am looking at a stack of like 8 knife boxes right now and a couple flashlight boxes that are not high enough to interfere with my TV on my TV stand.
Okay.
The top of my closet has a bunch of knife boxes.
Yep, that's where I keep mine.
Next to my dresser, I have a stack of model car kits I haven't built, and completely piled on top of them are knife pouches, knife boxes.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so it's not just me. Just making sure.
So my original YouTube channel started as Alex's Knife Box because I used to have this like leather-covered box that looks like a piece of furniture, but it was actually a rifle case.
Okay.
And all the stuff in there, and a lot of people, I really like the way they do it. They have the Pelican cases, and the knives are nice and easy access, and then they have the box in a separate place. My knives go in and out of the original box each and every time that I grab it.
And you still do it that way right now?
Yep, I still do. And actually, the bottom of my knife box just pretty much almost blew out. So now I'm going to have to change my channel to Alex's Knife Cabinet because I got a stand-up locking cabinet.
It doesn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah, I know.
Just deal with it. It's fine.
So it's Alex's vertical box.
It's interesting that you still put it back into the original package every time.
Yeah, because everything's got their own place and everything. I don't know. I'm a little OCD, I guess.
No, I think that's great. What I had to do is, like with the Medford ones, I had to put inside like a little Post-it of what knife it belongs to. So that if I do sell it, I know that I can grab this Viper, put it back in the existing Viper box, and give it to somebody because it's all the original stuff.
Right.
But I have to mark it because some of them, if you buy them at a show, they just hand it to you. It's not labeled like they shipped it, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's a little bit of work. But yeah, if you buy something from me, you're going to get the original box and stuff that knife came with because I keep track of it all over here to the side.
Yeah, I usually just pull out like the original box that it came in and everything, and then I'll put it like right in the front of my cabinet, and then I know it's like easy access right next to my gun, and it's right there, and I just, put it back in its spot. But I don't really arrange them like all the same when I put them back. Like the stacks will change spots because, whatever, but everything's always in its place, just for the mere portion of that. There's so much crap in there.
Got it. And then I do have a couple of Pelican cases. If I'm going to a barbecue with knife guys, I've got a Pelican case that'll hold, I think one of them holds 7 or 8, and then one holds 14, and they kind of, stick in there. And, Nalpac, I got them from there.
Right.
So they're really nice. And so I can just load that up and throw it in the car and then go. So I do have a couple of those, but I don't store them in there. Those cases are just empty over on the shelf in the closet.
Right.
So, but it's interesting to hear how everybody else does it.
Yep. Well, most people I hear have the boxes aside and then the knives in the case. I'm like the only person I know that doesn't do that.
Until I hit about maybe, I don't know, until I was at about 40 knives, I did exactly what you did. I kept everything in the original box. It's just easier that way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I could just look at it and I knew, hey, there's that. I can grab it and carry that today. Hey, there's that. Then it got to a point now. I mean, dude, I have way too much stuff. I can't. It would be like going through your stuff. I mean, I'm sure a cabinet's better than a box, but I mean, I had mine all in different dresser drawers, and it got to a point where I wouldn't dig through the drawer because I wasn't digging like 5 boxes deep to find what I was looking for.
Right.
Well, some of my buddies have nice big glass display cases in their, living rooms and stuff like that, and they've got lights on them and stuff. And
yeah,
I kind of want to do that because laying around on my dresser and the kitchen table and all of that kind of gets a little bit ominous. I mean, I do have people come over every once in a while. I have visitors, not with Corona, but people do come by the house every so often. I got to move stuff out of the way if we're going to sit and have dinner and, stuff like that. So, but a nice kind of case, at some point I would like to do that. We'll see. It's on the list.
Have you guys seen, I think this is going to change for the amount of knives that you guys have, it's going to change the game for storing that kind of stuff. They're stickers that have a QR code on them. So like if you pack, let's say you pack 30 knives in a box, right?
Mm-hmm.
You close it up. You put the sticker on the outside. You scan that QR code, and you can enter in all the knives that are in that box, or anything that's in that box, okay?
Okay.
So then you can go onto the app later if you're looking for a specific knife. Type in what you're looking for, and it'll tell you what box it's in. So you don't have to go searching through a bunch of different boxes.
Wow.
I think that's pretty cool, but if it gets down to that, then I got a serious problem.
Well, it depends.
I think that's right up Alex's OCD ballpark. I mean, I'm pretty OCD too, but yeah, that's kind of cool.
Pretty cool.
I have a friend that she's into shoes, right? As a lot of women are. And she would put them all back in the shoe boxes, and she actually would take a picture of the shoes back then and Polaroid or whatever, and it was on the outside of the shoe box. So in her closet was 50 boxes of shoes with the picture of the shoe on every box.
That's pretty smart.
Look and see, and she went so far as taking pictures of her wearing them with certain outfits, so she knew that those shoes went with that dress. Granted, she had like 200 and something pairs of shoes, which is I'm good with that. I don't think we can argue that point with all knives or our flashlights or our watches or this and that. If 5, 6, 8, 10 years ago. she was taking the pictures and putting them on there. I don't know what she's doing today, but I thought that was ingenious.
That is genius.
That was amazing. So it kind of goes along with the QR code thing.
Yeah.
That takes it one step further with technology.
Right.
Yeah.
She could do that, although she's not super technical, so that would be a problem for her. But yeah, that's interesting. I had not heard of that QR code sticker. I think that's a great idea.
I just saw it on like Facebook the other day.
Very much.
That could apply for knives very easily. For people with
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I don't think my collection is that big. Like, I mean, it might sound big to some people, but to me, it doesn't sound like it's that big where I need that. But,
right.
Hey, I think that's a great option for people. And that could be a great option for a knife store.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If they're not moving stuff super quick, or maybe they've got this order that's just going to be there, that's going to come out in a few months, but it's there back in inventory. That might be a great way for them to kind of keep track of their inventory that's in the back room.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, no, that's
Very,
cool.
very cool.
That could be a changer. Alex is over there now searching that up and getting ready to order some stickers.
Some custom cases and all this
Some
stuff.
cases with the custom QR codes and the app and
Yeah, make sure I download the app on my phone.
yeah.
Yes.
All right. So other than knives, what are you guys? Are you into flashlights, pens, watches, gun? I mean, I think we're all probably into gun, but
Yep.
not to take this off too far down a track, but just curious what other trinkets that you guys might be into.
We talk about a lot of stuff on here, honestly. I've wanted to get into watches, but I know it's not a good idea for me to get into watches.
I would say no.
Yeah.
Having been in watches since July and up to, I think the one that came yesterday was number 22 or 23, I would say don't do it.
Yeah. Knowing what I did with knives and how I kept buying things and I'm out of that habit finally, I think watches
Yes.
is a terrible idea.
I would agree with that.
I like pens. I have one pen, one nicer pen, and that's one of them Hinderer pens. It's nothing fancy, but
Okay, I've got one Hinder. I've got maybe 10 pens, but really my go-to every day, one that I usually grab is a titanium zero tolerance pen.
yeah, those are cool.
Absolutely love it. And again, I'm not some tactical guy, and my brother, 30 years in law enforcement, retired. He gives me crap all the time. He goes, dude, I carried this big pen for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And never once in my law enforcement career did I ever have to use a pen in a tactical situation. I go, I understand that. And he goes, and I don't know anybody else in my department that did either. I go, I get that. But this one is rugged enough that it just throws in my back pocket of my jeans, and I can climb under the car, I can go do whatever, and it's going to be there and not break and explode in my pocket.
Right.
That's kind of why I went with some pens, and then some aluminum pens that just kind of match a knife or something, so it can be kind of paired up.
Right. Guns, I think, is where it's going to get dangerous for me here in the future. I've had a handful, and now I'm seeing more and more. I'm like, yeah, I want one of those, and I want one of those, and this one's next. Yeah.
The thing with guns is, a lot of times, my buddies tell me all the time, and it's true, they're cheaper than knives.
Can be, yeah.
They are.
And be much cheaper than knives. And it does more, right? I mean, there's much more to it. Some of my friends are both into guns and knives, and they're like, dude, you know that knife you just bought, you could have bought 3 of these guns? I'm like, yeah, I get it, but I live in California, so maybe I couldn't have bought 3 of those because I live in the People's Republic of California.
My argument always is that I use my knife on an everyday basis. I don't use my gun on an everyday basis, other than my carry gun that I take with me every day.
Right. So yeah, that's a slippery slope in it itself, the whole gun thing.
Yeah.
So not to get too political or anything here. And what about you, Alex and Gerald? I mean, flashlights, pens, guns, all of the above, cars.
I have a few flashlights, but they're not anything like custom or anything like that. Just like stream lights and, little copper light, like nothing. I've never been into custom flashlights. I think it's kind of interesting. I like the ones with the steel flame clips and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I just can't justify me spending like $1,100 on a flashlight. I have 2 custom pens, I think, or fancy pens, whatever you call them. And that's pretty much it. I don't collect guns. I have my old faithfuls, my 1911 and my Glock. I plan to probably get another rifle because with my military background, I think rifles was always my favorite. And I really miss owning one. And cars. Cars is my other hobby.
And what kind of cars?
Cars are expensive.
Cars are actually, if I sold my knife collection, I would have no problem building pretty much anything I want.
Right.
I just bought a 2017 WRX. That's my daily driver. And then I have a 96 Mustang Cobra SVT that sits under a car cover right now, but it's kind of a little project car.
My daily driver is not a WRX, but it is the ST.
Oh, that's a cool car.
In the
cool.
same genre of the WRX. Mine's a 2013, and I absolutely love that car. I bought it in 2014 with 10,000 miles on it. Got a fantastic deal, and it's got 112,000 miles now or something. But love it. Done a few things. Absolutely love it. Got a bunch of brake parts sitting in the garage, and when the weather clears up, I gotta do all the brakes. But yeah, so into cars too. That's cool.
Yeah.
And what about you, Gerald?
I have, my phone does everything a watch could do and more. I have zero interest in. I think they're cool. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
I'll never buy one.
Okay.
I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
Every so often I revisit watches. I'll buy like a $20 watch. I'll wear it for like 2 days. I'll strap it to my bag, and I'm like, "Fuck this! I don't want that shit on my wrist anymore." Now,
I've got some $20 watches. And they're totally cool. I wear them almost as often as the $400 or $500 watches. I'm into that $1,000, $1,500 and below watches. I mean, I haven't gone into the Rolexes and Panerai. At some point, I would like a luxury watch, but right now I'm in that 1,000 and under.
I did buy a Tissot diver's watch recently that I really like. I wear the shit out of that.
Well, it's your family name. You got to have one.
Yeah,
and we would
exactly.
be shocked if you didn't.
Yes.
But Gerald, you were getting onto flashlights, I think, as we kind of bumped into you there.
Yeah. Now, as far as flashlights go, I use a flashlight as much or more than a knife. At work, at home.
Yep.
I've tried a bunch of lights. I haven't spent any kind of meaningful money on a light. I have not gone over $100 on a light. And the ones I've kept, this little Thorfire TG06S is what I always come back to.
Okay.
It was like $27. I use it a lot. I charge it maybe every 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
It is my outside of work carry, and I have a bigger Thorfire that I carry at work. That one, depending on how much I use it, I might have to charge it a little more often, but I couldn't get in. My problem with lights is I'm really picky. I want it to come on high or turbo or reset to that. I don't want to have to step it back to it. It's just what I like. And there are some lights I've had that I really like the light, but I didn't like the function, so I don't own it anymore. They're gone.
Well, and some of it, they add in all this stuff. I've got a couple of different ones. I got an FW3A, which is a fantastic light, I think. A AAA Streamlight, single AAA, a single AAA O light. Those were great. You just click it and it turns on, and you click it to turn off. Some of these other ones, you click it, it might be strobe, it might be low, it might be high, it might be FS. And then you're clicking through, and it's like I want it simple. I just want it to come on. and then go off. Always the same way, not anything goofy.
So that's something I've actually got into. Well, not into. I've researched it, and I've never made big purchases on it. I got a Phoenix PD25 that I like a lot. That's my tactical light that I keep on the nightstand.
Yep.
Also use it when I'm sharpening, just to check burrs and stuff with that. But then I picked up this one not too long ago. This SR2 baton, S1R baton 2
or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
And this thing is about the coolest flashlight I think I've ever had. It's got that clip that goes both ways.
Yeah, so you can put like on a hat and stuff.
Yeah, it's got the battery light indicator on the button.
Oh, okay.
Magnetic charging.
Which is cool.
And then it's still magnetic, so you can stick it to something if you don't want to hold it.
Ah, okay, that's cool.
So for like $60, oh, it's it's 1,000 lumens. So for $60, great little light.
Yeah, I mean, I bought one fancy light, I guess, from Big Knives and Deadwood
cool.
Collaboration. And I bought it because I'm a big fan of Big Knives, and I'm actually really good friends with Mark Begg. And because it was him, they were only making 10 of them. I bought one. But I don't need a light that's this expensive.
Right.
I don't. It's got a Dragon driver and all this fancy stuff that I never use. It's set to where I want the brightness to be, and that's where it comes on and that's where it goes off. Yep. That's it. I mean, but I do carry it because I like it because it's a Big Knife, deal, and it's got the engraving. But a lot of times it's just the FW3A, which is $45-$55.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. It has 2,200 lumens, 2,800 lumens on turbo. It's crazy.
Way more than you'll ever need, right?
Yeah, and the interface on the FW3A is super easy.
Yeah.
I like the interface. You click it on, it comes on wherever you left it off, and you can hold the button and it ramps up, or you can hold the button and it ramps down, or you double click it and it's on turbo. So it's super easy user interface, and that's what I think is important with a light. If you need a light, you don't want it to come on flashing or some goofy thing and spend 30 seconds trying to get the light how you want it to do whatever task you were looking to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I needed a light because it was dark and I wanted to not step over these rocks going to the restaurant at the from the parking lot because their lights were out. I didn't need a light to start flashing and goofy while I'm tripping. Or I needed to find the pen that fell under my desk at the office or something. So I think simple on the light is better. And who's ever going to use the strobes?
True.
Really? Are you ever going to use a strobe light on your flashlight? I don't think so.
No.
Well, if you're in a tactical situation and you're an operator, then
Yeah.
No, they're not going to use it either because it's too hard to get to. You got to click it 27 times, and then you can blind the guy who's already shot you 3 times. So, I don't know. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
Yes.
Just because we have technology doesn't mean we should include that in a product.
That's why I keep my Phoenix on my nightstand because it's got the tail cap that I can click on.
Okay.
Or I can hold it down and then let go, and it'll turn on and off by itself. So I don't have to click it on. So this sounds super stupid, but like a tactical situation, and you're holding a gun, and you've got your light underneath, you can momentarily turn it on, scan, turn it off.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yep.
My gun's actually got a light on it.
See, you're fancy.
And I even have it on the trigger.
Ooh.
But my AR has a Surefire light on it that has a momentary, pressure pad thing, right?
Yep, those are sweet.
So it's got one of those on there, and you can actually, that particular one, you can flip the switch, and then it shoots out UV light if you want to use night vision stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Because that's what I need for home defense. I'm going to grab my dog, I'm going to load the bed, I'm going to put those on, I'm going to grab my AR, and I'm going to go all night vision in my house.
Well,
Whatever.
It depends how much toilet paper storage you got at the house. You may need that.
Well, yeah, that's some crazy stuff, isn't it, these days?
That's what I saw something on Facebook. It says, you guys are all buying toilet paper. I'm buying ammo to steal your toilet paper.
Exactly.
My coworker went to the gun store to go pick up a shotgun the other day, just because he wanted to buy a shotgun, not because of the apocalypse.
Right.
And he said there was like a 2.5 hour wait just to see somebody, so everybody had the same idea, you know.
Yeah, Alex, the amount of people that have come into the store buying ammo and guns is over the last 3 or 4 days has been stupid.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
It's the same stupid people that are buying 27 cases of toilet paper and waiting outside of Costco for 3 hours before the doors open.
Right.
It's all ridiculous, people.
Sadly, they're not as interested in knives right now.
Right.
Now's the time for us to capitalize, boys.
Yeah.
You know, look, the thing is nothing's going to happen, and now toilet paper sales for the next 2 to 3 months are going to be way down because everybody bought it now, and they're not going to need that stuff.
Yep. Oh, well.
It's like that meme I posted with those guys in hazmat suits, and one guy says, they're all dead. And then the other guy says, but did you see how clean their asses were?
Yep. Yeah, it's this whole thing is ridiculous. I mean, we sent our entire workforce to work from home at work, about 8,000 to 10,000 people worldwide. They're all just working from home now until April 6th, at least, you know, and all the schools, I think almost all the schools in the country are closed now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Which again is, I don't know, it's going to be interesting how it all plays out. And when we get the all clear, are these companies now going to realize that, hey, we still got all of our work done? Can we just let people continue to work from home?
That's
and
funny.
We can downsize our real estate? Because right now, a lot of companies are, nope, butts in seats, butts in seats, butts in seats. And now they're like, nope, everybody go home. So after it all settles down, are they going to realize that maybe we should do more work from home and have less real estate or less buildings? You know, maybe instead of all the floors in the building, we only need 2 floors because some people do have to still come to the office. I don't know.
Yeah.
Buddy and I were talking about the other day. What's the outcome of that going to be for the workforce? I don't know.
I heard another podcast talk about that and say the same thing, you know. And I think for some industries, it'd actually be a really good idea. And I think a lot of employees would actually enjoy working from home, having the freedom to work on projects and stuff.
Yeah, I work from home. I've worked from home at this company now since October of last year, so like a year and a half. And it's great. I mean, yeah, I don't have really a set schedule. I have my meetings I got to go to and all that. I get my work done and off you go. So... yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out from that perspective.
Right.
Paul asked, "Is Blade Show canceled?" No, not yet, but considering.
Don't buy your plane tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be unless. I mean, that's far enough away that it might not be, but I wouldn't plan on it.
Yeah, I canceled going to Blade.
I was supposed to be in Vegas tomorrow for a trade show, and we opted out. And then last week, the entire trade show got canceled.
Yep.
So I wouldn't book any flights or any trips for Blade or any events at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I decided, because this was supposed to be my first Blade show this year, and I've decided because of it, I'm not going to go. And if I missed out, oh well, you know, I'll go next year.
I've never been.
Paul says, "I don't think we or Riot will be there."
That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's probably true, but it's funny.
Yes.
So, Alex, you're down in Southern California. Have you ever been to the California Customs Show in Anaheim?
Yeah, I actually went this last year. I bought
I missed this last year, but I went the couple of years prior to that.
It was pretty cool. It's very crowded in there.
It's very crowded, but it's a cool little show.
Yep.
I'm going to try to go down this year if they have it in October or whatever, so we'll get together if we end up going down there.
I'll go. Yeah, I was planning on going again.
It's a cool little show. I mean, you're in and out in a couple hours, really.
Right.
I mean, I'll spend the night because it's about a 7-hour drive down. But, yeah, it's a cool show. Met some really cool people down there, and there's a group of people that kind of get together when I go. So it's a fun little show.
Well, it was cool for me because I got to meet like a couple of the makers that I've dealt with, like Bill Koenig, Eugene from Olamic.
Oh, okay,
like a bunch of those dudes, and I got to meet Brian Ty, you know, a couple other makers that I've kind of been into. So it was kind of a fun experience, seeing what they're like in person. I gotta say, Brian Ty is actually a really cool character in person. I was not expecting him to talk a lot, but once you say like a couple words, he was just really like enthusiastic and open to talk to you. Enrique Pena was pretty cool too. I had a good experience.
Yeah.
That's actually the only knife I bought when I went there. I bought a trapper front flipper from him that day. And,
he was there the last time I was there too, and we chatted for a few minutes. He was pretty cool.
He is. He's really nice. Eugene was super cool too. I mean, I've talked to Eugene for a few years, and it was interesting. I was telling the boys, like, when I walked up, I mean, I have Eugene on my Facebook, but, you know, as soon as I walked up and the first time I saw him in person, he's like, "Oh, hey, Alex." You know, it was...
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, sometimes you get that experience with the makers and stuff, and like, "Oh, you remember me, the one that spent, you know, like $3,000 in a month buying 3 knives." That's cool.
Well, that's how I got in with Mark Begg at the Begg guys. Big Knives is my first order. One of my other coworkers at the time knew him and was going to order some stuff. So we put together an order with 4 or 5 of my buddies, and I ended up spending like $12,000. And I went to the shop and picked up a bunch of knives. And so Mark was like my best friend ever since then, because I'm like, dude, I got to be honest. It wasn't all my $12,000.
Right.
I just facilitated it. I was the one who gave you the money, and I picked the stuff up, but then I shipped it off to like 3 or 4 people. So it wasn't all me.
Right.
He's like, "I don't care. You move some stuff." Like, oh. So we've been good friends, and he's about 45 minutes from here. So I kind of go to the shop and hang out sometimes and stuff. So it's cool.
That is cool.
But
another knife on my list of stuff to get.
Well, yeah, you like the glimpse. So I have one glimpse sitting here.
Oh, yeah.
For you.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That is my favorite model from those guys, actually.
It kind of looked goofy to me at first, and I wasn't like super set on it. And then I got one in my hand over there at their shop and played with it. My brother had one and stuff, and then I fell in love, and I have 2 glimpse now, 2 or 3 glimpse, I think.
Yeah, they're actually pretty cool knives. Josh had 2 of them, and they're pretty sweet.
Yeah, I really do like the glimpse. And I like the bodegas, and the Bugatti is their bigger, thicker 1/4-inch one. It's basically the bodega, but just thicker.
Yep. I that's what I plan to get, is a bodega and a glimpse. Those are the 2. I think the Bugatti for me is going to be too big for my taste, although I think it's freaking awesome.
It's totally cool, but they're big. I mean, they're meant for, they're like full tie versions. So you've got the just standard Pretoria, I think, Alex.
Right.
And then they've got their other model that's 1/4-inch thick. So it's the same version, it's just thicker. And that's kind of what the Bugatti is to the bodega, which they actually made as kind of a spoof joke because of Greg's big thick stuff. The big guys are like, "Oh, well, let's make something too. We'll make a couple of them because they're not going to sell because it's ridiculous." And so they made them kind of as a joke. Everybody loved them so much they couldn't make them fast enough.
Wow.
They were shocked. It was the knife that they were shocked was a huge seller.
Right. So let's move on to, let's interview Dirk a little bit, since he's our guest.
Oh boy.
All right.
I've rambled enough, I think. But all right, go for it.
All right. So how long ago did you start your YouTube channel?
Mid-December of 2019.
There we go.
And he's already got more videos posted than me.
Yep.
So I had thought about it in the back of my mind, maybe, but I'm like, I'm just some guy. Nobody's going to listen to me. And I post a bunch of knives and stuff on Instagram and on Facebook, and I was pretty active there. It had, I'm not even going to say a following, but there was like 4 guys that watched everything and liked everything I posted. So I had this following of like 4 guys. And some other friends were like, "Dude, you should just do YouTube because, people would want to see that." I'm like, no. And then I became friends with a watch channel guy who was basically doing a review of a watch every day, and then on Sundays he would sell them. And they weren't his. People would send them in. He would review and make content, and then he would have a sale on Sundays. So I kind of bought some watches and was talking to him, and I told him this crazy idea that, hey, my other buddy told me I should do this YouTube thing. He goes, dude, like in half an hour, he had sent me a link to the tripod I needed, the lights I needed, the microphone, all the. I'm like, dude, it was just a thought. He goes, well, now you got everything you need. So I'm like, all right. So I started buying stuff, and here I am. And I've pumped out a video a day. He told me, he goes, dude, if you do a video a day, you'll have 1,000 subscribers in a year. And I'm like, okay. And so I've done a video a day.
That's about right.
I don't know if I'll have 1,000. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know. I think I get, 12 people watch religiously maybe, and Alex is one of them.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that very much. Yeah, some take off and I get 200 or 300 views. Some I get 20 views. It just depends on what it is.
Right.
I have no big aspirations of whatever, but yeah, I try to do one a day. So far it's worked out. I'll have to bank up with some if I ever take days off and stuff, but so.
Well, that's about right, because I try to do at least one video a week. I try. And sometimes I can knock out a couple a week. And I think I'm crawling closer to getting to 600 subscribers. And it's been, I don't know, I probably got a couple more months till I hit the year mark.
Okay. So, but yeah, you're doing pretty good. And what I like about yours, so my videos are different than yours, as I'm sure they're different than everybody else's, right? But what I appreciate about yours, Alex, is the history behind everything.
Oh, yeah.
So you're like, well, here is this, Model X knife, and the company started in 2002, and it was made by this guy, David, and he started it because of this. And you have a lot of the history of them, which I appreciate. And so your videos are longer than mine, which is fine. I still watch all 32 minutes of them usually. And then sometimes I do fall asleep and not off because I watch a lot of yours in the middle of the night at bed, but then I rewatch it in the morning. But so I like the history part. Mine is more of just kind of down and dirty. Here's a knife. Here's, maybe what it costs, maybe not, because I don't really talk a lot about pricing sometimes, which people give me some hard time about. But yeah, we'll see how that kind of evolves. But here's the specs and the size and what I think is good about it. And I always try to find something bad about it, because there's generally something bad about every knife. And if I'm only saying the good stuff, I don't think that's really honest and true review.
Right.
Because I want to point something out, like on the MIDI, like your thumb thing, and the fact that most Medfords have the exposed lock faces, and some of that stuff. I try to it may not be a deal breaker, but it's an observation that I want you as the potential buyer to know before you go out and buy it.
Right.
That's kind of my point, is to really just show off whatever it is that I have and give you a review that you can base my information on you to make a decision. Right. That's kind of the goal.
Yep. I have the same goal too. I separate mine into highlights and nitpicks. I try to be really gentle on that stuff, because I realize knife makers need to make a living, and I'm probably more gentle than I think a lot of other YouTubers when it comes to that. Unless something just really bugs the hell out of me, then I'll go into it.
Right.
But most of the time, I try to be fair, because the thing that's different about me than most collectors is a knife that, for example, that, a lot of people will get this thing in the hand and they'll say, well, I don't really like this blocked off area and stuff like that. And then I got to put more effort into deploying it, because I got to reorient my hand. And those things don't bother me about knives. I think each knife has its good and bads, and I don't mind adjusting the way I carry or use the knife, because the knife is a different design. But there's a lot of people that have that cookie cutter approach where they think, well, I held this A2 and this thing like melts in my hand. It's so easy to deploy, and you know, that means this is shit. You know, like it's a whole. They have different intents and different ideologies behind the reason why they were made the way they were. So that's why I enjoy watching your channel so much. Is because, I mean, no disrespect to any other channel out there, but you know, a lot of the channels that are big are reviewing the exact same knives, and it's the Riots and this and that, which are important. That's probably what most people look for. But me, myself, I'm looking for something different because I'm on Facebook and, you know, Instagram all the time, and I see all those usual stuff all the time. I'm looking for something unique, something different. I'm always looking for something different and something that I can learn.
Yeah, and that's what I've kind of collected is some different stuff. And so I've shown some of my collection that's just different, off the beaten path. And I try to keep them in that 10-ish minutes, just because I need to upgrade my phone storage. And so if I go longer than that, then it's really hard to render it and get it, you know, saved. And so I have storage issues, but I got to upgrade my phone. But plus, I don't know if anybody wants to listen to me ramble for 32 minutes, but you know,
I don't think anybody wants to listen to me ramble for 32 minutes.
We'll listen to you. It's fine. Me, I don't know. But yeah, I try to just tell the good stuff, and I try to find the bad stuff because I want to give everybody kind of a legit. I don't want it to be a commercial for the maker necessarily. You know, even when I've had makers send stuff in, I've had one maker send me something to review, and I pointed out a couple things that I didn't really like, and I told him that, hey, I may say negative things. He's like, that's fine. I want to hear. So. That's the thing. I mean, it was minor stuff, but I still kind of pointed out. So,
same thing with me, man. It's all about, you know, sharing what's out there, because that's how you continue to have people trust your opinion. You know,
right?
So with that being said,
look, I like Alex's videos because I put it on the car on my way to work on Bluetooth, and I can listen to the whole thing on the way to work.
There you go.
I don't usually end up commenting on them because of that, because by the time I get to work, I forget to go back and say anything. But I mean, the stuff I don't watch, like he was saying, I'll go ahead and bash on some channels. I'm not going to say their name. But if you want to be the first one to post something that you got 45 minutes or 2 hours ago and you're doing a full review on it, or you posted an unboxing yesterday and you're doing a full review today, dude, I have like zero interest in that whatsoever. Because you're not telling me, most of the stuff you're telling me I can go to, you know, DLT or any site and look up all those specs. And as far as using it, you aren't telling me anything in 24 hours.
Yeah.
You know, meaningful about it.
Right.
I get that. I don't do any unboxing ones because I just anticlimactic for me to pull something out of a box. For me personally, I don't watch a lot of unboxings just because it's not my thing, and I don't know that I will ever do an unboxing. But yeah, I'm not going to say never.
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened. I know people that say, I'm never going to sell this knife. It's going to get willed to my kids. It's like, it's a family heirloom. And okay, well, I own that knife now for 2 years. So, okay, whatever.
Right.
You know, it's fine.
Absolutely. Well, you know, and that's the thing too, is like when I do my videos, I want everybody to know I'm far from an expert or anything. I'm just another guy that likes pocket knives. But if I do an unboxing and I kind of like say, oh my God, look at this knife, and I start going over it, first I get lost in what I'm talking about. Second of all, I really don't know how the knife feels in my pocket because I haven't carried it.
Right.
Third of all, you know, I mean, there's things that take time to like really, like, I like to at least carry a knife every day in my pocket for a week just to see like what actually is what. And I think after you've owned so many knives, you know, to be maybe like for steel testing like the other guys do, I think you need more time than that because, you know, you're doing cut and test. But if you're more like about the design, the aesthetics, the build quality, after you own quite a few knives, you kind of like, okay, well, I already kind of know where this is going.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I'm not a steel guy. I know nothing about that. I'm good with whatever. And I think a lot of people, if you marked the blade different, like if it was really a D2 blade and you stamped it S35, the average person wouldn't know the difference. They just think it's like, they wouldn't call you on it, because I think the average people don't really know.
Right.
At least I know I don't know. I'm sure you guys,
now,
Gerald and Tom, would know.
The great thing that has saved me, also spending money, is a lot of more expensive knives don't really go outside. Like, I have no problem buying a Spyderco or a Benchmade if they're using, especially Spyderco. Because like the Rex 45 Tom just bought, $126, you could try out Rex 45
for $6 more than the S30V version.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's no, some of these knives that get into the thousands, they're using stuff that I can buy on a $200-$300 knife and know it's going to do well. So yeah, well, I might think that knife looks cool. It's not, it's M390, so I'm only buying it for the cool factor at that point.
Yep.
Agreed. Yep.
And everybody knows I'm a big cool factor guy. I love cool
yeah, I'm the cool factor guy. I don't care. Like,
which I have
D2. I mean, whatever. It looks cool to me.
I mean, there's tons of people like that, and I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gives us a huge selection of things to choose from at all price points, really.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep, totally agree.
It's like this SOCOM right here. So this thing's 1650, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or 1660. This thing will definitely, I know for a fact, not perform anything different than their standard M390 $300 production one.
Right. But it's a cool factor. And I'm all about that.
Beautiful. Like it's got a beautiful.
Oh, it's a cool knife.
Mirror,
Absolutely. And it's worth every penny in my book. And I haven't even touched it, right? I mean, I think it's worth that because of the blade and the Mokame and whatnot. I'm all about the cool stuff. I'm not a huge mirrored blade guy, but
mirrored blade sucks.
I understand it, but I don't. Trying to think if I own any mirrored blades. I don't think I do.
It's a fingerprint magnet. It's a scratch magnet.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything. It's literally just a knife to like carry around and flash off to your friends. But other than that, mirror is terrible.
And I'm totally cool with that. That's what my Phil Harveys are. I mean, they're not going to get really used and beat up. They could. They're quality, but they're the wow factor. They're that stupid factor, if you will, where people go, dude, what the hell were you thinking? Yeah, I know. Isn't it cool?
So where do you see your channel going in the future? Do you have kind of a set goal or like kind of an idea where you want to go? Do you want to like stick to a certain style? Or I think you said you kind of want to review everything and anything around the sun, right? Like different stuff.
I mean, I'm really open. It's just kind of growing, of course. But it's really kind of the knives. Flashlight reviews are just kind of tough because you're inside. Like I did one. I wasn't super happy with it. I'm not sure how that's going to turn out. But, knives, watches, things like that. I think if it can grow and I can get, maybe be a forum like my buddies Watch One, where people send in some knives, review them, and then do a sale once a week or once a month and have people buy them. And, they're buying them from the guy or the girl, not from me. I just am facilitating that, like my buddy in the Watch channel. He just facilitates that. So the person buys it, they send the money to David, and then I would ship it out or something. Maybe it could get to that point so that there's even more stuff kind of coming and going. I don't know. We're just going to kind of see how it goes and what people kind of respond to. Some people have asked, like, I did a video not too long ago about, hey, here's what I carry as an everyday carry and why. And I kind of pulled everything out and listed out why I carried everything. And people kind of responded to that. Thought that was good. So now some people kind of asked if I could do a video or two on how to pick what you carry. So
that's
kind of
interesting.
in my mind kind of coming up with, do I do like hey, here's your budget of $150. Here's how you could pick what you're going to carry, or here's $150 per item and pick what you're going to carry. So I'm kind of trying to think through how I can couch that, but kind of some just topic videos, not so much a product, so to speak.
Right.
So we'll kind of see how it goes. I don't know.
Very good.
No big goals or plans, Now, I don't have a...
Like anybody else, I'm sure you carry a lot of the stuff you carry just like I do. You've tried a bunch of stuff, and you've narrowed it down to what you like, and that's why you carry what you carry.
Yes. Yep. And it's going to be different for every person. It's kind of like you kind of have to go on your own journey, if you will, on what are you going to carry every day and why. I've got some friends that carry a fixed blade every day, along with their folder and this and that, and all these things. I don't. I mean, I carry a folder, I carry a flashlight, a pen, a watch, and my wallet and my keys. And then I have a little, Swiss Army type of knife in my pocket as well for if I need little scissors or something. And that's what I carry, and it changes. It's a different watch and it's a different knife every day type of thing and whatnot. But other guys are carrying fixed blades and Leathermans or multi-tools and stuff like that. And I think it's really based on what job do you have?
Yes.
What do you need? I mean, I work in an office setting. I work at home. But even before that, I was in an office setting. And prior to that, in my field and stuff, I was out in the field installing and doing service work and stuff like that. I carried completely different stuff when I was doing that work. I had a service van, and I had a Leatherman and a big Maglite flashlight and things like that. I just carried different stuff back then. Well, now I'm in an office setting. I carry more office appropriate, if you will, because I don't need a multi-tool. I don't need a big flashlight. And so it evolves with where you're going and what you're doing. So yeah, it is a personal journey that everybody has to go on. But if we can help kind of guide them, and people are asking some questions, I'm glad to help.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Very cool. Do you guys have any questions for Dirk regarding? I can hear Gerald's dog snoring in the background again.
Always.
Yeah.
He's a mascot.
Yeah. Hey, at least it wasn't the whole time this time.
I heard him sneak it in here and there. Look at that dog.
That's awesome.
I think that's another T-shirt idea. Is Gerald's dog snoring?
Yeah, I think so too.
There you go.
Very cool.
No, I mean, I get some questions I have for you. What did you like? What was your intermediate stuff before when you went from what you started to what you have now? Like, what did you carry in the interim?
I didn't.
Like, were you
into
were you did you carry like a Benchmade Griptilian? Like, what what I mean? What kind of stuff did you have in the middle?
Yeah, so I went from like a Spyderco Police, an Endura, a couple different models of Enduras, and then into a Benchmade Griptilian and Cold Steel. Don't even remember which one it was. It's still in the bottom of the safe somewhere. It was their Gunsight one. Don't remember the model number or name. And then I kind of went from the Benchmades. I had a Benchmade dealer, so I bought a few Benchmades and kind of sold them and traded up. And then I went right into kind of the Medfords and the Beggs and the Direwares. So my intermediate really wasn't. It was beginner Spyderco stuff, and then boom into the other stuff. I'm not the smartest guy in the show. I was kind of like that with my Jeep too. When I built a Jeep, I would, I did like a little budget boost, they called it. So it was 1.5 inch lift. And I went from that to an 8-inch long arm lift. I didn't do the in between 4-inch lift that everybody else was doing. So I went from like 31-inch tires to 37s. Most people went from 31s to 33s to 35s to 37s. I just went from here to there.
Yep.
So
cut the middle, man. To go big or go home.
Cut the middle, man. Go big or go home. And because I did a lot of off-road racing and stuff like that. So I just kind of went big and off we went. So there wasn't really intermediate knives, so to speak.
Paul wants to know, what trends would you like to see emerge in the knife and EDC world?
What trends? Yeah, that's a good question, Paul.
That's a tough
I
one.
think it's a tough one. I kind of like the trend they're on, honestly. I mean, I think right now it's trending now to smaller, slimmer. And I don't like that trend. I'm more of a bigger, overbuilt type of guy, or in the middle. I have a slim midi and I like it, but I don't carry it much because it's too small for me. I have a Sabenza large 21 and I like it, but I don't carry it much because it's kind of too small for me. So I would like to trend in that middle kind of 187, 190 blade thickness stock, up to the quarter, because I can carry a 1/4 inch every day. And other EDC stuff, the flashlights, my one big flashlight was the most expensive at about $700. I don't think I would get into the $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 flashlights. I don't see the need for that. They're cool, and you get exotic materials and stuff, but again, it's a light. I don't know. For me, it's not that great. Yeah, I'm not sure what new trend or anything I'd like to see, honestly. That's a tough one. I'll have to get back to you.
He also asked, what's the largest, heaviest knife you own?
That would be the Phil Harvey Peacemaker. And I think, I don't have my notes here in front of me, it's 2 pounds something ounces. Check it out on my channel. I did a video of it a while back, or search any YouTube, Phil Harvey Peacemaker. You don't have to watch mine. Other people have done a video on it. There's about 20 of them in the world. Phil Harvey makes them over in the UK, a small little town in his barn, all by hand, all on handmade machines. It's phenomenal craftsmanship. I mean, that's a true custom craftsman working away in his little shop in the back barn, with tools that he has to make, because he'll make a bit for something, like out of other tools to do a job. It's just
That's cool.
Old school craftsmanship. It's crazy. And that knife is up over 2 pounds.
That's crazy.
What's the maker's price on those things?
Brand new from him was $1,850.
That's not bad, actually.
On the secondary right now, if somebody wants one, my other buddy has one for sale for like $2,500.
Yeah.
Which still isn't a huge markup. I mean, you buy it for $1,800, you sell it for $25. I think that's reasonable. That's not like you bought a case of toilet paper for $12 and you're selling a roll for $25. That's unreasonable. Okay, but the supply and demand, and when there's only about 20 of those knives out in the world, to make $500 or $600 on it, I think that's reasonable. I would pay that. Like, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think so too.
And is it a practical knife? No. Once you look it up on my YouTube or just Google it and you see a picture of it, it's not practical. That the pocket clip is 5 inches long. So it's 2 pounds of awesomeness and handcrafted awesomeness with a hand satin blade that is just amazing. You know, the blade is about 4 inches tall and it's about 5 inches long. Yeah, it's beautiful. One of my favorite knives I have, and it's by far the biggest knife I currently own.
Yeah, I think I like that, and I like the Reese Wheelan stuff too.
Yeah, the Reese Wheelan ones are pretty good too. They're kind of heavy also, because they're 3/8. And this particular one, the Reese Wheelan Strike, is about a 5 and a something inch blade, 5 1/4, I think. So this one's not light either. Yeah. But yeah, with the Phil Harvey in my pocket, it does fit in my jeans. It fits. That's all it fits. I couldn't put a dollar bill in there with it, but it does fit, and you could carry it around. And there is a guy in Hawaii that does carry his around in his pocket, from what I understand.
Just as long as you don't wear skinny jeans.
Yeah, it wouldn't work into skinny jeans.
Yeah. You'd have a fat imprint, for sure.
Yeah, talk about printing. Ooh,
yeah.
Are you happy to see me, or is that just a knife in your pocket?
It's a Phil Harvey. It's a Peacemaker.
It's a Peacemaker. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Very cool.
Any other questions there, Paul?
Graham
Paul's
Razel,
always active.
Graham Razel double XL, who's in?
I like their standard mid-tech size on that.
Yeah, you already know I'm out. You got to know me better than that, Paul.
Yeah, Tom doesn't have hands capable of holding something like that.
Yeah. Probably too heavy. I don't have the grip strength for it.
Even if you're not going to carry it, you can still own it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not for me.
Honestly, obviously my Phil Harvey, I don't carry that one. I do have his Gladius that I do carry sometimes. It's much more, I'm not going to say it's normal sized because that would be a lie. It is more pocket friendly. I think the pocket clip on that one's about 4 inches. So it is more manageable and it does wear in the pocket okay. And that one's a little under 2 pounds.
See, that's why I rotate through knives so much. If I don't carry it, it gets sold.
You're a better man than me. You're like my brother. My brother kind of holds his in about the 10 to 12 quantity.
Yep.
And he just texted me this morning a picture of like 5 that he's going to sell because he's up in that 19 range. Yep. And he can't just have them sitting around. And I'm like, yeah, well, look who's talking. I mean, I can't say anything about having knives sitting around. I do try to carry a different knife every day just so that I kind of spread the love around. Because I try to specifically not carry the same one 2 days in a row. Same with my watches. I try to wear a different watch 2 days in a row. I don't do the same watch 2 days in a row.
I'm like the
me
exact
too.
opposite. I try and carry things for as long as I can carry them until I get bored of them. I feel like that's how I get a good feel for a knife.
Yeah, like sometimes when I first get a knife, I may carry it for a couple of days if it's a brand new one, so that I can really kind of get acquainted with it. But yeah, after a couple of 2-3 days, then it just starts rotating through, and it's kind of, that was the decision. Now that I work at home, it's not so bad, right? I can just go pick up a new knife between every conference call I'm on. I can just go grab something different. But when I was going to the office, it was kind of a struggle every morning, standing there at the dress, like, what am I going to take today?
Yeah.
It was kind of tough. I would try to think about it in the shower to come up with what am I going to carry? Like it was a little overwhelming at times sometimes. That's when I know I have a problem.
Yeah.
When you're standing there for 5 minutes trying to figure out what knife to carry.
You're late to work because you were trying to figure out what knife to carry.
Exactly. You show up and your boss is like, what, couldn't figure out what knife to bring today? Sorry. I mean, what are you going to do, right? They got to know me very well. So,
yeah.
Fortunately, I didn't have a set schedule when I was there, so that made it good too. But so.
Very cool.
What else you guys got? Any questions for me?
The chat doesn't really have anything, unless Alex or Gerald have something.
No, I think nailed it down pretty good.
Yeah.
Cool.
We covered a lot of cool topics in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It was fun. I appreciate you guys having me on. This was great.
No, it's a pleasure to have you, man.
Absolutely.
I will continue to loyally follow that channel. I very much enjoy all the content. If you guys haven't checked his channel out, please subscribe to his channel. Check him out. You'll see stuff that I promise will not be boring.
And if it is boring, give me a comment. So yeah, if there's something you want to see, make a comment on a video and say, hey, could you do a blah, 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 whatever it is. And like I've said on several different videos, if I own it, it's easy. If I don't own it, I have dealer friends. I have Medford dealer friends. I'm really tight with them. I got Beg dealer friends. I got Benchmade dealer friends. So a lot of the normal stuff I can probably get loaned in by my dealer friends to send me a care package to review and plug them. And I've got a lot of friends in the community that I can reach out to Alex and say, hey, Alex, do you have such a blah, 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 blah? Or
yep.
Valentino, do you got the blah, blah, blah? Or John or Susie or Johnny, I can pretty much get, I think, most anything in to review and send back to the person. So comment in on a video or something, asking me what you want to, asking if I could show something.
Feedback always helps improve.
It always helps. And if there's something, don't be an ass about your comments, because that'll just get blocked. But, if you'd like something different, you couldn't hear me, you couldn't do this or something, I don't know what I don't know, right? To me, it's perfect if I'm not told otherwise, right? So, yeah, the feedback is helpful for sure. And I don't get a lot of feedback sometimes, which is fine too, but
no news is good news.
That's the way I look at it. If nobody's saying anything, then either nobody's watching, which is fine, and I'll just keep doing what I do, or you're happy with it, and I'll just keep doing what I do.
Right.
Yep. All right, boys, I think that really wraps it up. Thank you for everyone who showed up in the Twitch chat yet again. Looks like a lot of the regulars, which is cool.
Cool.
For everyone that listened on any of the other platforms, thank you guys for listening, and we'll be back in 2 weeks unless we all die from the coronavirus.
There you go. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See you guys later.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.